Hello and welcome to Your Stars Within. I'm Little Wave, and today we're going to talk about the big three. I just want to remind you that at Your Stars Within, I offer astrological readings. I offer consultation, maybe you're intermediate level with astrology and just have a couple questions. And I offer astrological counseling, which is close to my heart, as my background's in counseling. But what I like to do is to help people to understand their birth chart, to really understand the energies that they work with, where the challenges are, and what current energies are impacting that, to best use and be empowered with what's happening and how to lead towards the outcomes that they would like in their life. If none of those services are of interest right now, sit back and enjoy. All right, so today we're going to talk about the big three. And in astrology, the big three is your sun, your moon, and your ascendant. In order to get your ascendant, you need to have your birth time. The accuracy of your birth time is very important to this. So double check with a parent or a birth certificate. All right. We're going to go to astro.com. You can use Astro or you can use Cafe Astrology. Either one is fine. I have a link to a blog that also will walk you through this, but for this video, we're going to use Astro. So type in astro.com. Actually type in the .com and you will find it much easier. All right, now go to horoscopes and then scroll down here to extended chart selection. All right, good. Now go to guest user. Now I actually really recommend you make a visitor profile. It just wants your email and it will keep all of your information so that you don't have to keep re-entering it every time. But for this video, we're going to go to guest and see you have to enter your information. So it asks for your name, your date, time, and place of birth. All right, this is what a chart looks like. Don't get overwhelmed. I know everybody looks at this and they're like, whoa, this is like a different language. It is a different language. But I'm going to walk you through how to find your big three, okay? So if you look down here to the right, there's a table that looks like this, and that shows you how many of each element you have. That's one of my favorite things to do when I first look at a chart. So you can see how much fire, water, earth, and air. I have a much more extensive blog post that talks about the elements, and I would highly recommend that you read it. Understanding this and using it is one of the most effective ways to start with a chart. However, you do already understand the elements. As human beings, this is like wired into our DNA. We get it. So think about what you already know about each of the elements. You know that water flows, is soothing, right? Flexible. It goes around an obstacle. It may slowly and patiently erode a path in the earth. Let's think about earth. It's stoic. It's grounded. It's reliable. It's hard to move. Let's think about air. It's everywhere and in everything, right? So it's social that way. It's part of everything. But what is it? Where is it? Sometimes it's not tangible. And in that way, air signs often struggle with identity. Now let's think about fire. It's fast. It's passionate. It's warm. It can be dangerous if left unchecked. All right. Let's get back to the chart. So look here, you'll see that the ascendant, and the ascendant is what starts the first house. So we actually can't know your houses without your birth time. So the ascendant in this case is at 13 degrees Sagittarius. See that 13? That's how we know the degrees. So how would you use this information? Well, let's say you were reading something or watching something and it was telling you that Jupiter is retrograding back to 15 degrees Sagittarius. you would say, oh, that's very close to my ascendant. Okay, I understand that that's going to impact me. And then you would do some research on that. So things that impact your big three are a big deal. You'll learn as well that something that's at 13 degrees Gemini, right, the opposite, is an opposition that's going to affect you. And the 90-degree angles, in this case, of Virgo and Pisces, 13 degrees, would affect you as well. All right, let's look at the sun over here. As you can see, the sun is at 13 degrees Leo. It's actually unusual that the sun and the ascendant or rising sign, those words are interchangeable, but it's unusual that they would both be at 13 degrees. It just happens to be the case. And in this case, I know that it's Leo by the symbol here. But there is another way where it writes that in a table, and I'll show you that in a minute. And then let's look over here at Libra. Oh, sorry, at the moon. Let's look over here at the moon, which is at 0 degrees Libra. And 0 degrees, 29 degrees, and 0 degrees can be tricky. You really have to look like, which sign is this in? And that's where sometimes glancing at the table, just scrolling down, glancing at this table here, you see how it says 0 Libra. So you can always check there. All right, let's look at the houses real quick. You see in the middle of this circle where the numbers are 1 through 12? That's your houses. And you can see that the first house starts where the ascendant is, at Sagittarius. So in this chart, the first house is Sagittarius. The second house starts at Capricorn. So where the house starts is very important, the cusp of the house. The third house here starts at the end of Aquarius. And the fourth house starts in Aries. So it's interesting here because Pisces, which all of Pisces is encompassed there in the third house, but it's not on the cusp of the third or the fourth house. So that would just be important to know about your chart. Much of the time when you have a lot of astrological information coming up, it has to do with what's called transits. So if you click this button here where it says add transits, what it's going to do is put on the outside of the chart, you see these little green planets? Okay, so that's where the planets are today. So your birth chart is where the planets were amongst the constellations on the day you were born. The transits are where the planets are amongst the constellations today. And you can see how that interacts with your birth chart. So any of the fast-moving planets, like let's take the moon for example, which is a luminary, but it moves the fastest. So if the moon is affecting something in your chart, well, maybe you're going to have a mood that day, but it's going to pass very quickly. So when we're looking at transits, we want to be looking at the slower moving planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. If they are making an aspect, either in the same spot, the opposite, or the 90-degree angles, to your big three, that's going to be a significant time in your life. They move very slowly, so this could affect you for a year or more. It's really helpful to know what house it's in, what sign, and what planets it's affecting, because it can tell us what's going on and how to interact with that energy. So for example, right now Uranus is at 6 degrees Taurus. So if you had anything around 6 degrees Taurus, or its opposite, 6 degrees Scorpio, or its squares, 6 degrees Leo or Aquarius, then you would know, oh boy, that part of my life, that area of life, and that the energy that the planet represents is going to get a shakeup, like an electric shock. Things are going to change. Things are going to happen unexpectedly. And what Uranus is trying to do is give you freedom, right? So the more you cling, the more difficult you make it. So in this case, if you know that, embrace, let go, be free, adventure, be unexpected, allow the unexpected. If you knew that, then you would know to engage in the energy that way. And the house would tell you what area of life to expect that in. But let's say the transit instead was with Saturn. Saturn's the teacher. It's karma. It's restrictive. It's your life lessons. So if something was happening with Saturn, this would be about buckling up, maturation, doing the hard work, nose to the grindstone, right? And the more that you willingly embrace that responsibility, the more Saturn will ease off of you because you're getting the lesson. So knowing the planet, knowing the house, very important. I know I've been promising you to go through a series with the houses, and I intend to do that next. I just thought that we needed to do this video first so that you would be able to apply it to your chart. So I'm going to do a series where I go through each house and talk about if every planet is there, how I would interpret that, so that you can go through your chart and watch the ones that work for you. So if you were able to use this video, I hope this was helpful, and if you were able to get your big three, right, your sun, your moon, and your ascendant, leave me a comment telling me where each of those are. Tell me your big three, and I will tell you if there's any major aspects going on to them right now. So I hope that's helpful. I hope it's fun, and I look forward to hearing from you. Namaste.